Good morning, good morning, good morning. Muri steady mwena. Namukadde akyabala. Yeah. Good morning, Ramila. Deep in Coffee, Richard Nabong, Martha, Antonio, King Daniels, Andrew Okuni, Bisoborwa, Ibrahim. You guys, I hope you're doing well. People apparently start believing that I don't like other types of cars, I only like Toyotas. However, the Mercedes Benz yemoroka jenali njagale nnyo akajagala kakyali mu katono naye kati Mercedes Benz is like an X. So today I want to talk about the only reason you want to buy European cars and a bunch of reasons why you don't want to buy European cars. Yeah, because the reasons why you don't want to buy European cars are too many. Too many. But of course, there are reasons. Okay, not just one reason. There are reasons why you want to buy European cars. And I'm going to be talking about them. Now, for starters, our environment here in Uganda, and we're also going to try and understand the culture that the Europeans live with. Their economy, the way they live their lives, basically that's okay. A bunch of times when I talk about why you don't want to buy Volkswagens are Audis, how they are driving Mercedes-Benz as daily drivers and all that, and I realize that probably they have not understood the culture of these guys and the environment that these guys live in. Before they compare us to them, which they get. Yeah. So we're going to about the European cars today, and so if you have ever been in love with BMW, if you have ever been in love with Mercedes-Benz, the Europeans have a bunch of cars. This is your time. So let's chat. So you could probably share and tell me why you particularly why you want to buy a European nation. Like I can tell you the reason why I would recommend anyone to buy that car has been on Ugandan roads for more than 20 years. That's a Corolla, more than 15 years on the road, more than 20 actually also. And you know what? They're going to be on the road way after. So that's one reason I'll definitely tell you to buy a Toyota. To take it. Yes, Abby, good morning. Hey. Tibita, good morning. Today it will be a little more stable than yesterday. I'm being optimistic, by the way. Yeah, so why you want to buy Martha era network yange inatagali banange yamwe tasobola kuba kombi. Is want us to understand the culture. Literally all the other cars that I've sat in as nabagamba ebbala liyige buyizi because as long as I'm in my time, I just know that this is the time I need to prepare for to prepare to move, and I'll be at work on time. bino bye mudduka noyise emmoroka nga nnya bakusangirira kati amafuta ogoononye. Just know every time you try to overtake you use a lot of fuel. That's one thing you don't want. Jaguar, Mercedes Benz, Land Rover, Skoda. I talk about Skoda because she kind of like was taking me around town. I was living in a hotel, so she was driving a Skoda. So that's why I'm talking about Skoda, because I've seen a Skoda before, and it's a normal car. It's not the most comfortable, but apparently the reason she told me she bought a Skoda was because the Skodas are very affordable when new. She bought Honey Skoda, I think about 4,000 euros. It was very affordable, just know. When someone buys a car 4,000 euros, euro erimwe nkume nyanga mu bitano. 1,000 euros million nganya n'ekitundu. So it means 2,000 euros a million mwenda. Kitegeza yagule moroka brand new ku million 18. So that's very affordable. If they brought a car in Uganda, it doesn't matter which type, and they were selling it brand new at 18 million, I would buy it. Even if they said it's the most unreliable car, at 18 million brand new, I would buy it. Because even the most unreliable things, when bought brand new, they are reliable in the first few years. So she bought Honey Skoda at 18, around 18 million. Might have been even less. My memory betrays me. Morning, Alan. European cars. So I want to see by show of hands. Sagara kugenda neyogeze ebintu nga nemwena temwagala European cars. Nga mwena muli bantu ba Toyota. Oba sagala ngende neyogeze ebintu nga mwena nabakonvince nga kati mwagala Toyota njereere. Because let's face it, European cars do have something with them. They do have something about them. But let's try to dig into the culture and the environment. Here in Uganda, we are sort of like living the life, like almost the life the Americans live in. In Uganda, you need a car, right? You definitely need a car. Our transport system, the public transport system, doesn't exist. We don't have public transport. Yes, taxis. Somebody will tell me I take taxis. Katinze wange jembera waliyo taxi mu estate. Nva kukuba kilometer 7. Nyina amakuba 2 erimu nvako kilometer 10 eddala nvako kilometer 7. Okitegeera. So you can't tell me that with one taxi in an estate that has over 500 people, that one taxi can actually serve us. It definitely can't serve us. So we don't have a public transport, and taxis are not really that comfortable. Their fares fluctuate a lot. Okitegeera. Akwana ku company is okay. Eyonvuddeyo. I personally can't afford the European cars. This is the big brand, but I admire the fact that they are very comfortable, safe, and performance is great. Yes, European cars are definitely good. So in our culture, one thing we need to understand is that right now where we are as a country, surviving without a car, if you can afford it, is the hardest thing. If you can't afford a car, you have to, so you have no option. Smartphone. Mapesa emwe imirira. Kati mapesa teba ambi neka katinze atawabwe. Mbera antya ne mapesa. Mbera antya ne mapesa. Gwavuga generator, gwavuga obubi. Katinze atawabwe sikyasobola mapesa. Kuba smartphone nzisobola. You get, there's a taxi guy. Ekimotoka kitokotanga generator yingi nireka yakuba wikisinga nyema bega aganyo jikanika. Ata avuga bubi. Anyway, back to European cars. Yeah, you're very true. Good morning. Good morning, Jude. Yes. So European cars, we are still talking about us as a country, Uganda. Right now, if you do a count on this road, the number of private cars beats the number of public means of transport. Nti bw'obalabalamu emmoloka ezirimu omuntu omu babiri nnyingi okusinga ezirimu abantu abangi, taxis. Like just in this space, we have one taxi and 1, 2, 3, 4 private vehicles, counting mine as well. Then of course there is a bus. Now your bus erabika ya maje. I don't know. Because erabika bulungi. Buses are public transport. Hey! See ya maje. It's a public, it looks that nice. But anyway, so the public transport is messed up. I personally wish we had like a public transport system, like a train or a tram, whereby Arthur can drive his car, park it at a train station in Matuga, and then take a train to the city center. That everybody would wish that, right? But we don't have it. So the best and Macu taxis are dirty. Taxis are dirty. We went to a taxi, and I think I've said this time and again. We went to a taxi, and I ride that taxi up to town. We went to Kakumulimuneta Gesawa and game to recover from the fumes that came from the taxi. The taxi was unyebi futa nzakati kyabisobo. Bwenchogera bwento mbanga abalata nesi kyabisobola actually byapusanga ubine bwe nali mu high school. No sobola okwegulirayo kamotoka ate bikuyisa bubi nnyo. Anyway, so I would rather drive an old Starlet ngeri gye bali banguze million ebbi. But surprisingly, you guys, mujjukira Starlet gye nabagamba, the one I wanted to buy 1 million and the owners wanted 2 million. They sold it 3 million. Bananga abantu bali mu nsaba tamanyi value ya sente. Kali akamotoka ngoyinza okagula million 3. Ebizibu bye kalina. Of course, it's okay, chairman. That's a very big problem. Cut count these private cars 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, including mine after the bus. Which take it. But picking generator, only guy had a generator now. Echimoroka just baka. Atavuga ubi taweta bulungi. Abantu weba tutina bagambako. Paka katana tuka na wanu we ndijira ikachifuni. So you guys, our culture right now, the culture in Uganda, and it's a culture that we have not really brought on ourselves. This is something that has been forced on us by the kind of administration that we have. Right now, you need a car. If we had a very good train system, cars are expensive to maintain. We all know they are expensive to maintain, but we need cars. Twitter again, Moroka. Which tegira? Echisoka. The past few months. Mchara wange yagezanga ko gendera mu taxi na yenge era atuka mu taxi na ava mu na alinya boda. Why? The taxi took a very long time nga abagenda tuka late ku mulimu. Kati nga inova mu alinya boda. That's not a very safe thing. For a person that is time cautious, okubeera ne moroka iyo chiri safer. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So without a car, you're bound to get accidents because we won't over taxi meaning the mechanic on your board and not of an accident. I don't know if I make sense. So the best alternative is to actually have your own car. Move at your own time, in your own convenience. Of course you'll spend some extra money. Nebo bamugezi wa city. Ojja kunonya engeri gy'ozikolamu. I personally find that bw'oba mugezi wa city, you find a way to make money. The culture yaffe, we need cars. Gwe bala private cars ziri wano. Gwe kyogamba buli muntu ayina emmoroka wana ayagala bwaga. For me personally, if I could, I would use public transport. But which public transport can use that is really comfortable? That is ono warumiyoni yayigirawo emmoroka afunza biki. Which public transport do you think I should use? That is as comfortable as my car? None. Katumazo okwetegeera Uganda, taxis are uncomfortable, borders are very very dangerous. Buses in bitundu bimunani. So what option does someone have who can afford a car? Just buy your car, and life is too short besides. Ate ne sente kwa sugara mu bank ngo food border about accident. Family yote just food. Gule motoka we yagale. Eyo tuvuddeyo. Omwana avuga kitchen yangu. Taxi drivers don't care about their cars. Osanga taxi ngerimu obuchupa bwa Novida, and they are now infested with goons. Man, ebiku waliwo yogedde ku bikwawo. Okitegere taxis osobola okutula mu taxi ekyuma ne kikufumitanga kiri mu mutto. Anko Arthur kirabika that started owner yalina omuti. Man, aleka alina omuti milioni 3 yakingambye n'entya n'okutya. Yang natidde milioni 3 eyemoroka totoso ogigula milioni 3 oboliko ekikyambo. But apparently there are people that have no idea what to do with cars. They have no idea what to do with their money. Ate tebamanyi channel yange for the love of cars. Kati ubato manyi channel yange for the love of cars. Ate kati ilo bugenda kugula bwotyo. Amina DK Subaru spare parts. Viani. Go resa DK Subaru spare parts wano. DK wanatumanyi omuntu omayagala Subaru ng'obulamu bwe. Bamuyita Viani. Era bwe tulaba abantu ba Subaru aleka atandise okusonda support. Talk about the trains, because I too have been thinking about that all along. Vamo chikube engolo bananga Antonio yagala engolo. Abantu abavuga rumioni simanya siyente obo motoka obo pya rakitisi temumanyi bulungi motoka. Temumanyi aba IST lwa kubantu nenda abo barakata Gideon ba minsonyi wanjo geddeko bwogezi. Ni abantu abasinga abavugeze motoka empya emotoka temumanyi bulungi. So anyway, that's for us. We have understood how our culture works here. Okuja Kongo in another view, a motoka katife Kampala it's a necessity. It's necessary for every family to have a car. Have you ever had an emergency at night and you didn't have a car? Do you know how you suffer? You call your neighbors abaine motoka nga tebakwata sim, probably they are inside it. Abamu nga teziriko. Abazikwata bagambye temuli mafuta ba battery ya 4 day. Do you know what excuses people can have when you have an emergency? Ochitegera, bro, you need a car in Uganda to live a good life. And we all need to live a good life. Ochitegera. Eyo tuveyo. Emoroka eberewo ne bobo jivugo munundi gumu wiki. Na yeberewo. Ochitegera. Ati mulengera 10 eri. Eyo 10 eyo. Eyo moroka. That's like the first generation of my Corolla. Corolla. Corolla is also. That's a very reliable car, by the way. At least vuga ipsam. At least vuga gaya. Wana gaya. Rabi kabu biye wewe. Munda chirungi. Na hiye boru chiringa chebab. Vuga papa ne bachikubirida. I've never seen a Mercedes-Benz as ugly as a gaya. I've not seen a BMW as ugly. But yeah, abantu bateka mo budenga bakoli babapirida. But I've seen a Subaru that looks exactly like a Gaia. Obachi bayita chekiziga banange kirabika bubi. Banange chekiziga kirabika bubi. I'm still wondering why people buy them. Oba baba wakula isi nga bachi baguza milioni nga 12 ngindala za 3 kirabika bubi banange. Oba bagenda biguzani nga babikoyi. Anyway, you tuveyo. The culture of you in our culture right now. Omanyi there are cultural shifts in every country, in every continent. The culture shift katiwe tulifenga as a country in Uganda, everybody needs a car. Mercedes-Benz hiyo tuli mkogeda ku European cars. Ojirabi. Omwana ajivuga, alaika daddy's boy mulabi. Muvubuka muto nnyo. Nnyo myaka nga 18. Naye yagali obulamu bwa kiseera. Waliwo abafa nga beena. Banange Spacio all model is a very hard car. It's all terrain. Spacio moroka nwanyi eringa Corolla. Of course kati Corolla yange esinga ku Spacio naye. Spacio kale ya damu ewanga de kubalo okusinga. Anyway, let's talk about Subaru. Banange Subaru tugenda zogera kunga tune ku VN ku podcast. Njinga ebintu ebipya buli lunaku. It's not a podcast. It's either a video podcast or a vodcast. Vodcast ngena bankola vodcast. Twambukewa katwambuke mulago. Ewana gete wajja kutambula. Ha banange jogede ka visitor ko gama mpozi visitor jenzi chukile mbadde maso. Vianney might be mobilizing Subaru army to overthrow Toyotas. Kisoboka. Bye twabadde twogere ebya Subaru luli. I was recommended by Deep in Coffee. That guy loves banange. Whenever we talk, he recommends you. I mean, banange Deep in Coffee. I'm lucky that you recommend me. Neyanziza. Naige moroka ne marakali wa bananga ati kasikala byakamata. Deep in Coffee, thank you. Eyo tuvuddeyo. Vanguard yiyo bananga. Nekati ngankwata milioni nkaga mutano ngazeka mu kino ekintu. Oba nkyali mwavu. Milioni nkaga mutano mu Vanguard nganda batezigenda. Yone bwe ziba atano. Tezigenda yo. Vianney yajibula nkaga. N'atano tezigenda mu. Banaye ngenda genda mu bond emu mbalage moroka ezijja mu sente zaazo. I'm going to go to a new car bond and I will show you which cars fit their price range according to me. It doesn't mean you have to take what I say, but according to me, ngenda kuba mbalage moroka chi ezijja mu sente zaazo. Ngenda bambalaga. There is this car company here ako. Katwala abantu up country. Kala it's an association of like people. Kaina stage yako eri wali ku railway station. We actually have a railway station. You'll be surprised. Tuise katanga lero. Yeah. So let's go to the European culture. You need to understand the European culture for you to understand why European cars will not work for us. But you have a European, the first thing they figured out was their transport system. Now, you ask me, how did they figure out their transport system? I've been to Europe like countless times. When atamulo munyo kwaso kugenda Bulaya nagenda Norway. Yo nembera nabeda yo kumara wikisinga mukaga. Na ine myaka 17. So you can imagine a 17-year-old traveling to Norway, what the experience was, eating from Burger King and all that. And all that time, the only time I took a private car was when I was in the country, Mucharo. We took a train to the village and we were picked up from the train station. I lived there for a weekend. And that's the only time I was in a private car. The rest of the time we walked throughout and took in a beach. That's the time I experienced racism. But of course, so I totally understood it. The rest of the time for the 6 weeks that I was in Norway, I took trams, I took buses, I took trains. Sata with a private car. Murundi no gumu. The place that I was living, because those 6 weeks, the first 2 weeks I think I lived in a hotel, but then after those 2 weeks, because I was a minor, natambula n'omukwano gwange, at that time he wasn't really my friend. Bamita Gerard, oh don't go, ye yantwala, because I was a minor, 17 over minor over wetago omuntu akuwerekera. At that time I don't know if it still applies. So I went with Gerald, nabera nange for 2 weeks. We lived in a hotel, but Gerald had to come back to Kampala, and then I shifted. I started living with the producer then. Guy that producing a show in Nkorako. And tried to be like an hour and a half from Oslo. I have no idea where we used to live then. But I used to take a bus from home to the concert house. Nadi Nkorako Oslo Philharmonic, but it's Oslo Concert House. And so basically what I used to do is I used to take the bus from home to Oslo Center, Oslo Centrum, and work. And in the evening after work, I would take a bus still. I would take a bus still from the Oslo Centrum from the Oslo Centrum back to where I lived at the time. So you can imagine someone living in a place for 6 weeks and not at any time na atambulira mu motoka eri private. Of course, that applies never against the mucharo che Kampala one no gena Masake you deep. Same thing would happen. So and plenty of times I've been to Europe. Ngasita with a private car, nga ninya bus, ninya tram, ninya train. So that's the culture in Europe, and that's how it has been for a very long time for these guys. Which together, they you don't really need the car in Europe. Katiao. Once you understand that, you will understand why Europeans drive any kind of car. Kampala. In Europe, you can be there and you literally have a car, but you don't drive it for a month. Why? And there are times I've been to Europe and I had to walk from the hotel to the concert house where I was working. And I'm walking for an hour. And not just me. Nemukama wange nyine ankozesa nga bwetubeera nga tugenda okukola would literally move for hours. Nga tutambula butambs. You walk to the restaurant to eat. You walk to the concert house. You walk for a meeting. You don't need a private car. That's the culture that those guys have in Europe. Okitegeera kati waba ya ali Europe mpaka nga njogera bya kigwagwa asobola okujja nangamba Arthur nedda naawe olimba sobola okuwakanamu. Okitegeera tram ebeeranga train, but those are they are zibanga, you see a cabin ngeeyawa kule nnume. That's how it is. Naye tram zikolera ku electric lines. Okitegeera zibeera ku electric line nga bw'onulaba Kampala road awo Makati kyekintu ekiri Makati okiraba. Kati tram zitaratambulira, they move in the middle of the street on electric lines. So those are trams. It can be moving from like Namamve. It moves from Namamve to Jinja Road, and then it turns around, and then there's a tram that comes from Jinja Road to Kampala Road, and then it goes back, and then there's a tram that they have those. Almost Europe looks almost the same because of those trams. I think even the US has those trams. And so trams are used mostly for inner city movement, and then of course even buses as well, but then trains go for long distances. So that's the culture that is in Europe. So a European can drive Skoda, a European can drive Mercedes-Benz, a European can drive Land Rover. Why? Because they literally don't need to drive this car every day. And the thing that happens is that for us Ugandans here, when you buy a car, you are forced to drive it every day. Ontegeera. When we were still in Kasangati, that's where our first house was. There's a time when I took an Mganainga setanga motoka. Nandaba kumpi. Of course, I was struggling, and I was thinking, why do I really need a car? Of course, without a car, I love cars. She tells me, hey, but you can't be there without a car. So I literally had to have a car all the time. And when you have a car, you have to drive it. Tongamant, you don't have to drive it. Tongamant was all over Nemoroke, Wakagwe, no sada wall in your tax. There's a time we were going to inspect a car for someone, and then we had a broker seated in my car, and I told him I had driven my car for 2 years. I said, "Oh, go to Moroke, Miake, Nemuka go Tamuzete, Bigede, Miake, Ojide ku boda. Atoga amaze lwachivuge Moroke, Miake, Gwengo, Likuchigere all this time. Nangama nedda, Zemoroka Nzina, Justin's parking the mubone. Nemuga toina Moroka, teri muntu alina Moroka Kampala wano nga asologire keeka n'atambuza ebigere. Okujja mu Moroka yagigula tagisobola. Okitegeera. Yeah. So anyway, so European culture mujitegedde. So the way the European culture, you guys, you're 47, we have only 12 likes. Come on. Don't be stingy with your likes. Don't be stingy with your likes. Like the broadcast. By the way, share this broadcast. Share with this broadcast with people so that they learn what you are learning. Yes, tuleme kubeera selfish. Anyway, babula atho yiribye n'ensi eno. Njiribye answer mu njiribye. Ebayina ebyalo, but their villages are nice because in the village where I went in Norway, and I remember this as vividly because I was young, but it was my first time. Ngakora asagenda paka ku rujja rw'omukyalo oli. They had a very big family house. It was seated on like 10 acres of land, but tarmac went up to the entrance of their compound. So Innocent is saying if it's not prestige and status to win contracts, there is absolutely no reason to buy European car. Every Ugandan is a hustler. Let's stop faking life. Thank you. There are people that want to believe that that they are not hustlers. Nenga ate tuliba hustler. Good morning, Council Patrick. Vista Adeo nga njogeddeko nnyo sigenda jogera leero bannange. I have a video on Vista Adeo is a very reliable car. Just buy bw'oba ogisobola. Okitegeera. Of course, don't buy the Vista that has a 3S engine. Buy a Vista that has buy a Vista that has a VVTi engine. Ina engine ngeya primo new model. Okitegeera. Ndoze ekyo nkimaze. Naye walai even me that Vanguard yanema okutegeera. Nze Vanguard sigisa million 5. Nze sisobola gula sola kwata million 5 zisa mu Vanguard. Mpozi bwavu bwe bunjogeza. Ni ate ebintu ebimu mbeera nga abyogera ng'asaaga naye in time tutuuka ne tubizuula nti ndi mutuufu. Da 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 di da 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 da. When I reggae music mumuleke, leave reggae music alone. Reggae music alinga kolola na mukadde. Inimoroka mujireke, don't even talk about it. Good morning, live in Mubende. Thank you for being live. I don't take that for granted. Mwe boyiga ngemoloka notuka mu reversing otunamusaidimira mukka nganzi ojja kuba oyize mmoloka nze nayiga twayiga twamala. Waliyo sigiri okay. Even their disposable income is way above compared to ours, so they can afford those expensive European cars. Jovan Mugume say, I enjoy driving my Raum new model 2010. It's fuel friendly and I enjoy my car SC. Amina wabaroka bulungi nange avuga SC munamukadde. Princess Magnifico, how are you? I am bringing Subaru Forester Nation members to this platform so that we can make people love Subarus. Viani balete ne ku podcast ojaleta ze sina buzibu. Karege keko era ne bwofuna money still you will be thinking other brands. I think that statement twayiga twamala is the passcode to your parking spot. Munange ngendo okulaba nga envuga yange ya muntu eyamanye mmoroka n'agimala. Anyway, eyo tuveeyo. Kati, once you understand the culture of these Europeans, not a guarantee, this is the way they live their life, this is the way they need to live their life, because they want to wali train, tram, buses, buying a taxi system, esinge yafe very bavuga Mercedes Benz zino abagagaze bavuga wano, but these bavuga mu special hire. Okitegeera. So once you understand that that's how they live, then otandika okumanya nti ate moroka tebazeetaaga nnyo. Kati you can go to Europe nosanga abantu nga baparkinze emmotoka for a month nga tagivuze. Wane emirundi emeka okujjako nga nfu, mirundi emeka gy'osanze omuntu nga parkinze emmotoka okumala omwezi nga waali nga atambula buli lunaku n'agireka mu parking. It's very hard okujjako nga nfu obanga nga yaggwamu. Okitegeera, bali abeera ne sente ze ku account n'abako ne dola oba pound emitwalo 10 ningi mmotoka teyeetaaga givuga. So that's their. So now once we understand that, let's go to European cars. Of course, we know the number of European cars we have: Jaguar, Mercedes Benz, Peugeot, Volkswagen, Audi, Land Rover, Skoda. I keep saying Skoda. Volvo, all those are European cars. So we need to understand where they are. Era ndoza botandika okutambula ng'onoonya garage za European cars ezo jazibala. Ne bobera mu kibuga wano ozibala ziringa 4-5. Okitegeera. Sizaala isa ate. Okitegeera sizaala isi. So there are a lot of disadvantages of you owning a European car here in Uganda. One, you won't be able to drive it every day. If you drive it every day, it will disturb you a lot. Why? We are used to our Japanese cars. By the way, ne Subaru na Japanese car. Ne Mazda na Japanese car. Na ina zo zanjawulo ku Toyota. So, but we are used kati olaba nga bwe manyidde Corolla yange. I'm used to my Corolla, the Corolla that I drive every day, and I drive it every day, and I fix it whenever I feel like. I fix it whenever I like. Si emoroka jobeerawo nti bwogenda kukola service olina okujja isimanya fuel filter ebintu bingi. If you watched Kasim's video, you will know that Mercedes-Benz is complicated. I think not just the Mercedes-Benz. Even if you went to the Audi, you'd realize that even the Audi is hard bwogenda kukola service. Service is quite complicated. So it's very expensive, first of all, to maintain. Ngatennaba nakufa. The garages are very few. Emoroka makanika wo ne bobero bera Luwero. Makanika wo agenda kubeera Kampala. I know someone that lives in Hoima, but his mechanic is in Kampala. So whenever he needs to work on a car, he'll drive the car to Kampala to be worked on, or he will call the mechanic to come to Hoima. That alone. And also, ekiracho ekigendo kugaana to buy a European car is the resale value. You'll buy a Mercedes-Benz at 20 million, and I can tell you that drive it for 5 months and people will be giving you 5, 3, 4. The resale value is whack. So but ebibi bingi nyizo butabimalayo, but emmoroka zirina ebirungi. One, Bobo yagala okulya bibebyo bimale Kampala, drive a European car. Of course, ne Subaru kati nazo zaayingirayo. Ne mu Toyota mulimu zi Mark X Crown ezo nazo zirya bibebyo. Naye bobo yagala okulya bibebyo bimale Kampala, just drive a European car. Omuto gwa European car nziwe navugira Golf. Njala wange ne kakati akyayagala zi Golf because they are too comfortable. They sound like they are real cars. That's what she says. Okitegeera. But that doesn't mean that without that comfort you don't get to where you're going. So of course those are advantages. If you want to impress people, you want to make people feel like, oh, nyina sente is akabi drive a European car. Na hilo jakubo inokubango zina because European cars disturb a lot. Okitegeera. Even in Japan, most Japanese don't have cars because it's expensive in terms of taxes and multiple regulations. Besides, they do have an efficient transport system. Yes. Giovanni Agambe, I only service my room when I feel like it, but it still stays on the road. Exactly. So anyway, of course, European cars are very, very, very comfortable. Very comfortable. Those are the only reasons you should buy a European car. Prestige, comfort. Prestige, comfort. Only reason you should buy European cars. Tewali safety. Ne Mercedes-Benz ofa bovugisa amalala naye wali abibebi anze nali mufumbo we navugira Golf so sali abibebi. But you just want to convince people you have money, that's prestige. You want to eat the baby, that's prestige. Comfort. Safety is overrated here in Uganda. Era bovugisa ekimama ero jja kufa. It doesn't matter what car you're driving. Mwemulo was a president wegwanga yatayagala safety. Why isn't he driving a Volvo? Volvos are the safest cars. The guy is driving a Land Cruiser. He has a Mercedes-Benz that he also drives once in a while. Okupanya, the guy, we buy him everything, but still he doesn't drive a Mercedes-Benz every day. Kategwe a Ugandan. Omo yiribi. Oyagala vuga Benz ojivuge buli lunaku. Ago simalala. The guy, we buy the car for him, we maintain it, we buy fuel, we pay his driver. The guy doesn't drive a Mercedes-Benz every day. He drives a Land Cruiser. kati gwe omuyiribi, you want to buy a Mercedes Benz, you want to buy a Volvo and drive it every day. Gwe buba teweetaaga miggo oba weetaaga ki? Ndowooza ekyaleero nkimaze. Si kimaze bannange, kampite mu mannya mbasiibule mbeeko byenkwasaganya wano. Deep in Coffee, Richard Nabong, Martha, Antonio, Remy Lewis, Andrew Okuni, King Daniels, Bisoborwa Ibrahim, Abi, Antonio nga nkwogedde nnyo. Ne mwebale kubeera ku broadcast, mwebale ku encouraging abantu kujja. Ben Kako, King Daniels, Moses Heath, Alan Mulindwa, Vianney the Subaru lover who has a Vanguard, Brian Wanyama, Raymond Sechibule. Banangenze Vianney njagala jjo nkakase lwaki oteeka milioni nkaaga mu Vanguard. Njitunulidde neŋŋanda endabira ddala. Waliwo nekyali wange yagigula milioni 5.5 naye ndabanga n'ataano tegajjaayo oba bwavu bwe bunjogeza. Ekyo jja kiŋŋamba mu podcast yaffe Vianney. Access News Tibita Fahad, Roger Sempija, Nicolas Sebulime, Jededike Subaru Spare Parts. Encha question Friday bagayi kati encha muje mumbuze ebibuzo byeŋŋaanya okuddamu zino ennaku eziyise nja biddamu. Roger Sempija agamba ku Vitsi kwafiira. Yes. Council Patrick Asiku, our lawyer from the East, Innocent Mugabe, Preacher Joseph, Anselm Isaac, Bashir Mukalazi, Baluku Nobat, Paul Banaria, Jovan Mugume, Princess Magnifico. What Princess Magnifico? Wow, uri muna Uganda gwe? Oleka nga atali muna Uganda. Brian Wanyama, Mugalasi Joshua, Mavo Gadget Center, Ibanda Bernard, Nsanji Phone Solutions. Yes, Hami Black Sebiala. But back in the 60s and 70s, try to vuga European cars mostly, like the Peugeot, Fiat. Anti-kakati, we were colonized by the British, who are Europeans. So try to adapting game. Live Life UG, William Magezi. But now, guys, thank you very much for being part of this broadcast. All companies, 80% they are using Toyota, though even a poor one can drive GMC. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for being part of this broadcast. Don't forget, guys, how do I keep this channel moving is by doing pre-purchase inspection at a fee. I do pre-purchase inspection and I charge you guys a small fee of 400,000. I come with a mechanic and we make sure that you get a good car. We make sure you get a good price. Ntitokola losi teba kuba tofuna motoka ambi. Pre-purchase inspection you book me. Sikola bukozi katingo olwalero already rufu. Omuntu yabadde ayagala mukoye pre-purchase inspection olwalero yadda ina kumbukinga gulo over the day before if it were. So you book, you send some money on my phone to book the day. Then you give me the rest of the money on the day that we meet. Yes. But guys, I appreciate the fact that you're also part of this broadcast. This channel is also monetized. Na sent is from YouTube ntono. Aite zibe za YouTube channel. That's why we have to find those other avenues. I also sell tracking devices. Bobango ine moroka ye yomulembe toyagala bagikubbeko emekujifuna. You put a tracking device. It will cost between 350 and 450,000 depending on the capabilities of the tracking device. I also sell car alarms. What toyagala beko matara kumoroka yo tekamu alarm. Nginzi yange ina alarm erimu n'omuti. Emiti gyose gitunda nkulagira bulagiri gye bagitunda ng'omuntu babbe emmotoka yo awulira ebimusiiwa paka bwagivaamu. Anyway, guys, I wish you a very lovely day. I'll see you tomorrow, which is Question Friday. Yesterday, I did a test of the vodcast. Now I know what I need properly. I'm going to try and fix that. And then I'll do another test next week. And after next week, then we'll start our Nuwa Erina Okuberamu Alamu no Muti. True. Otekamu Naro. Anyway, bagay mbede bulungi mweraba.